Good morning. Good morning. It's Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light here, wherever you're watching us from today. Happy May 24th, May 25th. Oh, it's the 2525 portal, whatever that means. Yeah. So that's a 7-7 portal, I guess. So, wow. Hey, which means it's the beginning of spring, almost the beginning of summer. So enjoy, everyone. Today we are joined live by Katie Steinle, our what do we call you? Our reporter, our cosmic reporter, our cosmic reporter, our occasionally special correspondent.
Yes, I like that even better.
Yeah. Special correspondent reporter joining us live from Seattle, and Laura Hyland, who is a retreat master organizer and renovator and real estate agent from Seattle as well, organizing this wonderful retreat that we're going to be talking about and all the little parts that go with us. And maybe even Katie will talk to us about what this new moon is and what's it going to bring forward. And then, of course, my special host, Teresa Warren, who's with us today. Yay! Bex couldn't be with us. Working that girl, but she does do the graphics every week, and we talk to her every week, and we miss her dearly. And our other guest hosts are off doing their thing, but they will return hopefully next week for our meditations and messages, which will be for the beginning of June. Oh my gosh, it's June already. Well, this is episode 21, so I guess it's June. So thank you for joining us, and you can watch us on replay or watch us through YouTube or later on our podcast, and all our wonderful episodes. You can watch them anytime for free. So Teresa's going to pull a card for us for this week and give us the news. Okay, here we go, Teresa. Up you go. Yay.
All right. Thank you, Rhonda. And I'm so glad to have you here, Katie. And Laura, I'm very glad to meet you and looking forward to getting to know you today. My card is coming from the Golden Future Oracle from Diana Cooper, because, you know, we love her so much.
Yes, we do.
And to me, I feel that deck is really like an Aquarian age one. It's sort of future thinking, and it's expansive and it's inclusive. And so the card I pulled, can you guys see all that? Look at that.
Wow.
There's like meditation going on and vibrations and frequencies, and check out them dolphins there.
I love those dolphins. Oh, manifestation.
Water energy. Look at all the orbs. Ooh. So this card is about manifestation and mind control. And it's a call to focus your thoughts. Because we all know we're already in higher frequencies, right? We already know we're on newer timelines. We already know here we are in higher dimensions. There's so much to see and there's so much to do. But the way to get there, deep relaxation, contemplation, and visualization. These are the foundations for maintaining high frequency and activating the spiritual gifts. It's right there available to us. All we have to do is match that vibration right now. In the golden future, everyone, including children, will practice these techniques. They will all learn mind control methods, visualizing precisely and clearly until their third eye chakras become powerful enough to manifest. Now imagine that. Imagine at school before you're studying, you bring your energy together to focus, and what kind of a day that would turn out. So this is a technique that we'll all use. So being that this card came to us, it's a card of power. Receiving it as a reminder that you, all of you, that we all have untapped gifts ready to develop at this time. It's time to bring these forward and open up the latent possibilities within you. Your guidance is to practice deep relaxation, not work harder. They're not saying no, do what is deep relaxation, allowing and flowing, and spend time in quiet contemplation and do visualizations. You see, it's time to expand that consciousness a little at a time till we see all that's there really around us. So that's the card for next week.
It's funny. I pulled a similar card for one of my clients yesterday, which was very interesting. Cool. A manifestation and focus. It was very much the same card, but different deck.
Validation.
That's awesome.
That's when you know really in the field, right? When you
Yeah.
start seeing it in different places.
Katie, I'm going to let you introduce Laura because you know her best. And you can talk about what you guys are doing together. And I'm going to play with our settings here so I can get you both up here.
Okay.
Equal, but not there.
Yes, we are playing around, Laura and I, and have crafted an incredible retreat in Scotland, of all places. Laura and I met. Laura is a client of mine, and we've been working together now for, gosh, at least probably 2 years.
At least almost 3, I think. I feel like you've been here since the beginning almost of my journey. So yeah.
And it's just been incredible, just the exponential growth that Laura, once, she really committed wholeheartedly to, her ascension process. I mean, you are just an entirely different person than when I first met you. And so Laura is the mastermind behind this retreat. We're calling it a quantum well-being retreat. And Laura, why don't you might be better to speak to how you orchestrated and brought in all the players and all the pieces and
okay. So part of the journey started with Katie, and like I was sharing before this started, that the work that I've done with Katie has been instrumental in the ability of where I'm at this point. And the human design, which is great about coming to know yourself, but more so the biofeedback, the quantum alchemy aspect of the process that she's able to do, really helped to go in and work with me to let go of a lot of old stories, a lot of energy that was trapped within my own psyche, my own body. By meeting with her consistently, it became something that just, I would say, kind of almost feels like warp speed in a way for like what happened within my own existence or my own experiences of life after that point. And so I had been doing that the last several years, and my life in general had been taking on more this essence of exploration and stepping out. And one of the things was traveling. And so I decided last year to take 6 weeks off and travel to Europe. And in that, before I went, I learned that, lo and behold, surprise to me, after doing an ancestry DNA kit, that I was actually more Scottish than anything else, when I didn't know I was Scottish at all before August last year. So then it got me thinking, it's like, gosh, if I want to go to Scotland as part of my journey. And I was something in me was like, you want to go to ancient sites, you want to do this kind of thing. But I was like, yeah, right. How? What am I doing? And I just started looking through, Googling, trying to find who could I connect with, who would take me, who do I resonate with, who would let me go on that journey, even if it's just on my own, but prepare it for me. And that's how I found Lisa. And Lisa has a shop that's actually down in the Dorset area in the UK, but she had spent 3.5 years in a van, just driving throughout all the sacred areas of Scotland as part of her journey when she started to come back to herself. And so we connected online. We had these great conversations, and I was like, okay, I'm going to set up a time. I want to see you as part of, before you tell me where to go off in Scotland, I just want to drop in and come and see you. And she was a little nervous because she thought, oh, great, here's somebody coming. I have no idea who this person is. Why does she want to see me? But the moment we met each other, it was just like we've known each other forever. And so we started having these conversations. I spent 2.5 days there, ended up staying overnight at her place, and hearing her stories and all the experiences that she had. And it just started coming together. I mean, she had said, she had not only these mystical experiences within all these sacred sites, but then she had made these connections there about wanting to take people to it. And she even had like a place that they were willing to offer to have people be able to come and stay as part of the process. But she just wasn't sure how it was all going to look. And little did she know that in my background was one of the iterations of my life was creating events. I used to do that in a former time before I lived in Seattle. When I lived in Florida, I had put on several events of like more of a larger mass scale for thousands of people. So I knew enough about the inner workings in the background, what it would take to get something up and running. And I've done retreats. And so I was like, you know how the universe is, when the time is ready, it starts pulling the right people into each other's orbit for that next step. And as we were talking, and I'm like, not only do I think it's something that we need to do, like with these sacred sites, but I'm like, I've got the right person who I've been working with that I feel like we need to bring in on this as well, who could do this amazing work of opening people up to understanding what quantum biofeedback is. And not only that, but helping them maybe through them understanding their own human design and even some astrological chart aspects. So it started from there. And we ended up, I left there, I did my travels, my journeys, I came back home, and I let Katie know what I was thinking. She got very excited, and I was like, I need to have you two meet, Lisa and Katie, and they hit it right off. And we just started laying the groundwork, and it just fell into place. It didn't have to be efforted. And it was like each one of us took on a different role. Whereas Katie was all about the quantum biofeedback with the human design and could really work with people one-on-one through the week in different ways and or as a group. And then Lisa was about for everybody who's always had a call to come to Scotland, but not just to see Scotland in a kind of a standard tourist way, but in this kind of drawing of these sites, these ancient mystical sites, but not knowing which ones you go to, how, when you're there, how do you even access all these pieces? Well, that Lisa is that piece, is that she just has such a deep connection to the land, not only to the land, but like to the elementals, to the energies that once were, that still are, that she communicates in real time and can connect with all that. And so then came me, was like, I've got this. I'm your background person. I will make sure that everybody has the place to stay, that we have the food to eat, that we have the systems are all like just working, that lets you two do what your magic is. And I'll just make sure that everybody is where they need to be at the right times and what that looks like, and then allowing and holding the space for the magic to show up, which is the two of them.
And speaking of the estate that we're staying at is the picture behind Laura, so everybody can get
let's see. Let's put Laura on big. Look, oh, there it is. Dunger Hill? Is it called
Dungar's Hill? Yeah, Dungar's Hill.
Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, you can
Hill.
just picture yourself, and it's just so freeing, these rolling hills and this huge estate. And that's just going to be the base camp. So can you imagine the excursions when we start going out into some of these areas that have... Okay,
I'm signed up.
So there's that. If you've ever wanted to meet Rhonda, now is your chance.
I will tell you, Scotland, out of all the areas that I visited for those 6 weeks, and I've been to Ireland and it's beautiful, but there's something about Scotland. And once you start getting into the Highlands, that is like none other. It's just something about it is just the energy, the beauty, just everything about it. It draws you in. If that is a place that has any kind of story for you, like life, like you spent there or whatnot, it draws you in. And especially now with all the energies and everything that's going on this planet and in this frequency we're in, it's starting to draw the people to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Scottish as well in my background, as it are a lot of Canadians, Scottish and Irish and English and French and German. But yeah, there's a lot of Scottish in me, and I've always wanted to go. So I just said yes.
Mhm.
So
You said yes.
I just said yes, and I'm so excited that we're going, and I'm so excited to be going with you, Katie, and now Laura as well. And I can hardly wait to meet Lisa. I have fairies here in Canada, and they visit me sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they fly through my screen sometimes. You'll see it, maybe not all the time. And people
They
think
look
I'm
like
weird.
little orbs.
Yeah, they just kind of fly, and and yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. You think it's something like a fly in your back of your eyes, but yeah. So
And one of
yeah,
the things I'll just say real quick too is that both Lisa and I share a background that we both owned food establishment. Like she had a catering company that she worked with movie sets in London area. So
wow.
like Jamie Oliver, Game of Thrones, some of those places. I owned a couple of restaurants when I lived in Florida. So food is of the utmost importance to us as well. So this will not be a come and you're going to eat a very limited diet. No, we want to know people's background, if it's vegetarian, vegan, or whatnot. But within that, there is the ability to have flavor and just amazing food. And so
More than just oatmeal, you're saying.
correct. And a couple of berries dropped on top. Where it's just that matters to us. So food will be of the utmost importance in this experience as well.
Well, I'm
And
looking
if
at
you
your
remember, Rhonda, Rhonda and I actually, the first time that we met live in person was at a retreat in Mount Shasta, California. And it was absolutely like life changing for both of us, I think for everybody that was there. But for whatever reason, and I'm sure you'll agree, Rhonda, one of the top things that stood out to me, like one of my favorite things at that retreat, was us coming together for the dinners, because we'd go in and it would be this experience, you were able to just relax and commune with like-minded people, and we had great conversations, and there were, all this food, just like you said, Laura, like the sensory, the taste and it just was such a way to just nourish yourself, on so many levels.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and it was all vegetarian, which was fine because I don't know how she did vegetarian, vegan, and gluten-free, but she made it all. And it was a wonderful catering experience. And the food was good. But I think there's something to be said when you're a woman, not having to make decisions about anything. Everything's planned for you. And that way you can just be, because you're not having to worry about what's for dinner? What should I choose for dinner? Where am I going to sleep? What should I do today? There is something about having that nurturing cocoon of, here's what we're going to do today. You can join or you don't have to. And here's what we're going to have. You choose what you want to eat. And that's like a big plus for me. Somebody who has to organize everything all the time for everybody.
And that's how we envision is just more because it's one large dining table, because there's only a certain limited of people who can come. And it's designed as, everybody to sit around, as Katie was saying, and to enjoy like more of a feast feel to it. But from there, it's to have fun of like these questions that we'll ask at that time just to get to know each other. Because then after dinner becomes about the ability for people in their journey to sit as just one gathering group and ask questions and start to sometimes you go to these retreats and these events and there's too many people and you love what you're learning, but it's too large of a group and you kind of remain individual. And so you're taking this information, but you really don't then have a way in that real time to start processing it. You just kind of got to go back home and do that and stuff. And so the goal really here is to integrate what it is that is being explored through the day and have it in a place where you can actually sit for an hour and a half or whatnot. And let's delve in. Let's ask those questions. Let's see if we can get some answers. And you can feel heard in real time versus going away from it and then having to just process on your own.
Yeah, because I'm looking at day 3. There's a wonderful itinerary up on the up. I can't. Sorry, I have not figured out how to share these, but I will give you. I'm going to give you the address for it. If anybody wants to look at it, and also it's in the information attached to this video and this podcast, so you guys can go and look it up. How many people are coming? I mean, how many is it limited to? Max, yeah.
The max is 13.
Oh, cool.
It's meant to be intimate. It's meant to be because we're going to be going to so many sites. And then when people work with Katie, it's not just about when she's doing the group session, but then we've also built in where she's going to be able to have one-on-one time. Well, the last thing we want to do is overload her. And, we want to make it viable for everybody that's part of this experience.
That's really cool. And so, like, if you look at day 2, morning yoga and meditation, yay. Breakfast, quantum alchemy session, lunch, afternoon tour of an ancient mystical sacred site, and then dinner, and then a group exploration. Looks wonderful. And a lot of this is repeated. And then you take 5 guests and 5 guests. And so you kind of have, what do they call that? When a breakout session. So 5 guests stay at the resort and at the manor, and 5 guests go out and look at a special sacred site. And then we accumulate with a wonderful hike, for all day hike out to sacred sites somewhere. I don't know where. And Scotland being Scotland, well, you just dress. There's no bad weather. You just dress for it, and it'll be great. Yep. It'll be warm enough, and there won't be snow, so it'll be awesome, and it'll be fall there. So, like what's in your background there, right? It'll be
right. Yeah. Lisa said that's actually the best time to go. For
no bugs.
No bugs, most likely sun and beautiful color. And like you can just see, I mean, it's going to be all around us. And then going into areas that have amplified, earth, if people are familiar with ley lines and, the magnetic, energetic flow of the earth. And so going by day and spending time with yourself, clearing out, doing some of that releasing and purging and freeing up of your energy field, and then working that in tandem with going to these, amplified vortex energy portals. I guarantee, people are going to be getting activated in beautiful ways. And really, like Laura was saying in her journey, how she was able to kind of warp speed, through a lot of, years worth of therapy and, all the things. This is what our goal is for everybody to really have not just a transformative experience at the, during our week together, but to really be able to have those shifts at a core level, returning you back to your true self and allowing you to embody more of your true self, your authentic self, that the unwoundable part of you that, is unwounded and unwoundable, right? And allowing you to really go back and integrate that into your real life, so it's not just you're going away for a couple of days and then you go back and reality hits, like Rhonda was describing most of our days. There truly is a way to, we're living in a time with less density, with more consciousness, more awareness. People are coming more and more online, with their own abilities, gifts, strengths, and the true understanding and embodiment that we create our reality. And so you don't have to go and, necessarily rehash years worth of trauma that you had as a child. We can let that stuff go a lot easier, but it takes free will and it takes commitment, right? And, we're offering this incredible opportunity for a small group of people to really have that.
Yeah, and it's pretty darn affordable. I kind of did the math because, I'm an accounts payable clerk. And so I had to do the math, and I checked out to go and see it I'm looking at it, and depending on what kind of accommodation you have, it's great. And you also said you offer payment plans for those who maybe
Yeah.
not pay it all at once. So sort of
Yeah.
maybe go into that part a little bit. Maybe talk about a little bit more.
We just
About,
we'll work with the individual. So whoever needs it to land a certain way, that's where I'm like, just reach out and contact me, and we will work with the individual for a plan that helps them get the payments. And as long as it gets paid off before you show up, we'll be good. But we can then work with people from there about how they pay, how much they can pay, when they can pay it. And we'll leave that to the individual.
can you speak to some of the sacred sites, like you talking about Merlin? So what's his iconic places up there? And
Well, I mean, there's
Perthshire. So you pick us up at Edinburgh or Glasgow, depending on where we are, and we're going up to Perthshire, which is east of Edinburgh, right?
actually Dunkeld.
Dunkeld. Okay.
Dunkeld. And Perthshire is to the east, Dunkeld's to the north. No, it's within drivability, like for wherever we end up going. But one of the areas is called the Callanish Stones, is one that comes up. There's this tree. It's this Fordingle yew tree, which Lisa has a deep connection to. It's might be the oldest tree in Europe at 5,000 years old. And so there are some rings of stones beyond Callanish. God, it's like there are so many portals in that area. It's really going to become, there's too many to go to. So really it's going to become about, as the people join the retreat, of reading into the energy and then sitting with it to know which ones are going to be the most impactful, because they are everywhere. The way that this Highlands and the way that this landscape in Scotland is designed, it's pretty amazing. Whatever, from ancient times or whatnot, that this land was created to be. So Lisa,
one interesting fact that I discovered when I was just, kind of starting to look into Scotland is the most active as far as, is it UAPs? Is that what you call UFOs, Rhonda?
UFOs.
UFO site in the world. The world. So, I mean, that tells you something, like they can spot the magic from other dimensions. They're coming and visiting. So I'm pretty excited. You just never know who might show up, put it that way.
Yep. And you got to stay open to it. You got to allow for what can be and not predetermine that you think that this is the only way it can show up. Right. So in a way, it's working on getting out of your own thought process about what it looks like and allowing for what the magic can be to really come in its full essence.
It's interesting too that Scotland has the unicorn as its national heraldry symbol on its. So
you're kidding!
Didn't even know that. So they always say Scotland's national emblem is the unicorn. Its national animal is Loch Ness Monster. So really, what other magical beings can be there, right? So it's quite.
Because like when we take the hike one day, we'll be going through an area of a forest that's very much connected in the sense that there's the fairy falls, and there's just. I'm just scratching the surface because I've only been there once and I was there for a week and a half. And that's why it's like having somebody like Lisa, who lived in a van for 3.5 years, just driving through the countryside of Scotland and going wherever she felt led and directed to go, and the connections she has. And it's just pretty amazing, everything that there is for the opportunity.
I have been doing my homework. I've been listening to Men in Kilts. And I have read the whole Outlander series
I'm
But
watching.
that started like
Outlander
20
right
years
now,
ago.
Rhonda.
20 years ago, I read the
Prepare.
Outlander series, and I still am reading the Outlander series. But I met Diane Gabaldon in Kingston, which that was before she was super famous, because she was signing books at our bookstore. Like, yeah, right. So, so
We're going to go with the more unburdened energies, though, than Outland.
Let's hope so, because I really didn't want to visit any battle sites.
No,
That would be
not
nuts.
interested. That is just energy that is just not even worth going to. So
No.
No. We're going to do the ones that are more about with connections to those worlds that we're just starting to be able to tap into and get a sense that the reality is there. But they've been waiting for us to actually elevate our frequencies.
Yes.
To be able to connect. So yeah, we're going to go for the fun ones. I'm not going for the beheadings.
No, don't want any beheadings. Don't want any battles. That's not,
Nope.
Yeah. No, I'm not into that.
We're going for the magic.
You're going for the magic. So like that one day you talked about where we're doing the 5-5. So that's one specific day where the average, if we end up with like the 10 or whatever you end up with the number, half will stay and be with Katie for the day, for the morning and afternoon kind of point. And the other half will go with Lisa. And in doing so, the people that stay with Katie, she's going to be working with them one-on-one. And then after they have their session with her, then they're going to get their own personal individual massage for an hour. So we have our masseuse lined up. So it becomes about a day of just
integration
and pure focus on themselves. Like somebody, all the ways in which you come to these places, and sometimes you wish you could sit with one of the presenters and actually delve in deeper in a one-on-one, and it's not going to happen really. You're going to get that moment where you're going to get to have that individual time with Katie and really make it just about you and make it about that energy so that she can sit and work with you in that individually. And then from there, you're going to get your time to relax and have that massage and just be pampered. So we've integrated, like you said, the yoga and the meditation. They will be optional. They will not be mandatory, but they will be provided and offered that if you want to participate in that, you will be able to. But everything is designed for you as an individual, yet you being able to be in a group and connect with others who are on a journey that feels similar to yours, and that you just get to show up and play and be taken care of.
That's super. I'm excited because I've been also studying Scots.
Okay.
I tell my husband, I said, no, we have to watch this program because they're all speaking. It's from Scotland, so we all have to learn how to listen to Scotland.
Yeah. Good luck.
I know. I had my uncle was from Scotland, and he came over the war and married my aunt. And when he was sober, you could understand him completely. But then when he got a little bit of the whiskey into him or the scotch, his brogue was so intense that it was hard to understand Uncle Joe.
It's when you smile and nod.
There'll be no subtitles like in Netflix.
Understand it. It's just, there's something magic about it, it just draws you in. It never gets old.
No, I know. I just like, it's a calling. I know I'm sure there are people out there that are called to this, and too, like I said, me being Scots, I looked for how much it cost. I'm sorry. So it's a good value. It's a great value for your buck. So
thank you for saying, Rhonda, because I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, you can tell that Laura and Lisa and I mean, we just want to create this experience. We're not in it, for the profit or the money. I mean, we're going to be right alongside everybody, having, like Laura said, playing, just coming back to that lightness of being. Every time I connect with my own spirit team, probably at least the last year, just because things have gotten so intense in the collective. That's the number one thing they tell me is they're, Katie, lighten up, just lighten up, and so we're creating this environment between the biofeedback that'll allow you to release some of this stuff without having to, effort for years. And then the human design and really understanding, getting back to who am I, and then going and allowing greater connection with the universal energies that are always there, always wanting, to connect with us. But, our windshield gets foggy and, we can't hear, we can't see, we don't have that extrasensory perception. But, Laura and I can attest, because we've worked together now for so long, that, we've developed telepathy, and so we can connect now in ways that we're not special, like this is available to everybody. You just have to sometimes, it's nice to have people to show you, that have gotten there, this is how we did it. So yeah, it's going to be pretty magic. I can't wait.
Super. Where are we at? Oh, we're doing well in time. Now we all have to get our own flights there, which, isn't bad. For me, it's only 6 hours. I just go from Toronto straight to Edinburgh, which is easier than flying to you, Katie.
I was going to say, how did you get so lucky?
It's easier than flying to you, Katie, because flying to you is more than 6 hours. So, yeah. Yep. So you have to fly all the way to me and then fly across.
Yep.
Wow. Well, if people use something like Skyscanner, there is a website called Going that used to be Scott's Cheap Air that has it will alert you when the pricing is getting less expensive. It's not that expensive to fly. I mean, I didn't book last year and I just was like, oh, I decided I want to go to Europe. I mean, I decided at the end of September and I set it up for October 20th. And I got a flight for $650. And that was round trip. But I landed in one place in Amsterdam and then left 6 weeks later out of London. And it was no, there are prices. I saw these coming through that were going to these places in Europe for $400, for $500. It's not as expensive as you think. And you just kind of need to go through and just wait and be patient and find it. And then from there, once you've landed in Edinburgh, or if it's going to be Glasgow, we have a set location to meet the day of that we will grab everyone from a point in Edinburgh. And then if there's a point in Glasgow, if anybody ends up flying in there, we have a service that will come and connect and pick everybody up and then bring them out to the estate. So there's no need for you to have a car unless, that's what you want. There's parking. It's your call. We're not going to stop you. But then we'll also at the end take you back to those locations to let you then leave to fly out, do whatever it might be. Or if you need to be dropped to the airport, we'll work through that with whoever it is that ends up signing up. Right now it's more generic because as people are signing up, and then I need to know when they're getting their flights and then find all those pieces out, we'll get to a point where it gets dialed in when the people who show up, which is to the case in point when you're talking about for who's showing up in this one. And this is one thing that definitely, Katie and Lisa and I were talking about, but we've shown up in a few places to be interviewed, but really it's about allowing for the right people who are being called to it to show up and to come to it. I very much believe that the people who this is meant for are the people who are then going to come to it. And that will be the perfect group that is meant for that experience. And so it's very much like being from a place of just release. It's not about making any money on this. This is more about the three of us want to play and we want other people to come play with us. And we just happen to all have these skill sets that provide a full package for anybody that shows up to have an amazing experience with us and to make it about the moment and being in the moment and being lighthearted, but also just being in that sacredness of the energies and the frequencies that exist, and seeing what it has to teach us, and how it what's there that will expand us and bring us even that much more into who we are, and becoming more embodied in our own selves and our own energy. This is not like a sense of like, we've been there, we've arrived, come, we'll show you how at all. This is like, no, this is, we're walking side by side. Let's take the journey together.
Sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. So maybe just go over where we can find you both, because we have, Laura, maybe you can speak to where you can find, just repeat it, and I'll put the banner up where you can find us, and what the timelines and things are, and the, the best before, get to it here, or whenever dates you have in mind.
So the website is Rock and Rose Adventures, and that "and" is spelled out. And you want the page, it's for soul retreats. And if you scroll as you go through and read through just what we're offering, at the very bottom is where the retreats are located. Right now we have 2. We have one that's this coming fall, September 28th through October 5th. And then we also have another one that's going to be next May. That's at Rachel's Farms, which is more in the Perthshire area that you were talking about earlier.
Oh, okay.
And so you can also see the information for that one. If you're like, well, I can't do September, I can't do the fall, but there's another one, you can check into that. And that one's at a different location. And then we'll come back to Dunkerhill again next year. But for right now, I've just set for those 2. And then we're just getting ourselves set up and going as well. And yeah, for right now, if you want to do it, we are just requesting a $500 deposit. And then from there, it's contacting me and connecting with me about how your payment plans might look from there. And as long as we get final payment, I'm asking at least like by the beginning of September, that would be desired. But again, connect with me. Let's have a conversation. Nothing is a no. I'm more about, let's find the solution, and not be, it's this or nothing.
Great. Gotcha.
And the one thing to just throw in there too is the ETA. Europe it's their version of a passport.
Yes.
And it just took me like under an hour. Like you just go and it's on an app, and then, right away they go, you're approved. It's not like you have to go through some huge security clearance, but it is something that I wasn't aware of. This is relatively new. So
Yes.
Just keep that in mind, that you'd want to make sure.
Yeah, it's really all you have to do is get your it's a pre-passport screening. So you just take your passport, take a picture of it, and they scan it before you even get there. Instead of like a visa, it's an ETA. And once they have that, then they'll send you an email. Like I had mine in less than like an hour.
Yeah.
Probably because I'm Canadian,
Same.
but I don't know. You just have to pay the $10 US.
Yep.
And haven't quite figured out that. But okay. It's not pounds, it's US dollars. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
So
but you guys are all paying in pounds for this retreat. So
Yeah.
it is all set up through Lisa being in the UK. So everything is in pounds, not US dollars.
and the Canadian, that's not a 40% off. So it's worth it. It's worth it because my husband.
Now you can go to, and then from there, when you link into the particular retreat, it will have a button on there that will say book now. And that will take you to where it is that you can then set up for the choice of the rooms. And what's left are private rooms with an ensuite. I think there's maybe 3 of those. And then there are two rooms that are private that then share a bathroom out in the hallway. But it's like we have it designed that it's 2 rooms per bathroom that would share that way. And so everything's priced accordingly, that if you're with an ensuite and a king size bed, obviously that's going to be like the top of the luxe kind of thing. So it's going to be a little bit more for that versus the one who's in a bedroom, but with no ensuite, but isn't having to share, so we fairly priced it in that sense for what it is that somebody shows up.
And I'm sharing with Jen because I've already shared rooms with her.
Yep.
So that's okay.
You two were roomies before?
Yeah, we were roomies in Shasta.
I love that.
Yeah. So
I didn't remember.
Yeah. Old ladies roomies. Yeah, that's us.
Those are
so much fun. Yeah, it's been 5 years since Shasta, if you can remember that.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
And we're all completely different people, you know, like when you think about how much growth.
Oh, yeah. Yep, for sure. Teresa, did you want to ask the ladies their questions? You can ask Katie the crystal question. I didn't realize we have to get her into crystals. I can't believe, Katie, you have not gotten Laura into crystals yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, when she gets back from Scotland, because I'm sure, we'll be connecting in a lot of different ways. So maybe something will, you know, rise to the surface for Laura.
Maybe bring her some merlinite.
You don't want to, you know, sometimes I think, you know, you go into a crystal shop and, you know, you're just so bombarded. And so like, you just find yourself, oh, this is a pretty color, but I think it's much more magical. I have a couple crystals that there's a whole story, you know, of how they arrived at my lap. And so I love that, Laura.
Sorry.
I'm going to have to find her some merlinite or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Oh,
Katie will tell you I have a very kind of like blank screen. So a lot of this, like, okay, don't know what any of it means. Okay.
Which is great. I'm glad you brought that up, Laura, because it's not like you have to be super woo-woo, you know, to go on this adventure. I mean, there's Lisa and Laura and I are very different people, you know, so I think, you know, whatever your personality type is, like, you know, you'll feel at home.
You have to be woo curious.
Yeah.
Woo curious. I like that.
Or woo allowing.
Yeah.
Woo allowing.
You know, and just know that it exists, but it's okay if it's not in your realm, but cool that others are enjoying it that way.
Yeah.
We're all on our own individual journey. We are not here to have anybody else's experience but ours. And we can't. We just fool ourselves into thinking that we can, or somehow we need to convince other people to see it the way we do in order to validate our experience, when that was never the intention. I mean, how boring of source if we all saw things the same, right? I mean, that's no experience for source to have if we're all having the exact same experience. So then how's that great for it? So it's like, in a sense, own what you are, because the quicker you can do that, the quicker you can start to get on that journey back home to you.
And Laura, I have one book suggestion for you, and for anybody out there who wants to, who's sort of like likes the woo but likes the science but can't reconcile the two. I've read, and he's Scottish, and when he reads his book, it's awesome because he reads it on Audible. It's Why Woo Woo Works by Dr. R. Hamilton, PhD. He's gone in and he's gone from Reiki to sound frequencies to light, and he's gone in and done the research and say why it really works and why it works, and from placebo effect on. He has a lovely Scottish accent, so he's really easy to listen to.
That should be a prerequisite.
Why Woo Woo Works, Dr. R. Hamilton. He's a cutie patootie too. You find him on Instagram. He talks about kindness and other things as well. And I just like one of my new favorites, but yeah. So Teresa, you can ask the questions, Madame.
Questions, you guys. Are you ready? Now, here you are walking across the stage, ready to step up to the podium, but they're playing your song. It's the one that makes you feel so good, like you can do anything, and you're hearing that and you're ready to go. What song is it that they're playing?
Oh, I'm trying to think of the right title. I'm singing it in my head. I think it's The Power Is Here Now, I think is the name of it. And it's the coolest song because it just goes into like the elements, and it just, like, the water is showing up in your life, and this is how it's, you know, helping you and serving you. And by the time you get through this song, like you feel so embodied and so like empowered, you know, you're just like pulling it in and you're like, yeah. And then it's like, now's the time, you know, like go follow your passion and go do that thing and make your dream come true, you know? So it's just, yeah.
I love
Is
it.
it by Alexia, somebody? The Power Is Here Now?
It's a female voice. So that might, yeah, that's probably it.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. I'll have to figure that one out.
I like when, yeah. The only song that comes up to my head is like, it's funny. The one that popped immediately is the one when you and I had our session this week, Katie. The I'm Coming Out.
Oh yeah.
Because of what we were talking about and everything. And it was like, yeah, that old 1970s. Woo. So I'm coming out. I want the world to
And you're
know.
right. Like as you're walking up to the podium and the lights are coming down, you know, on you. Gosh, yeah.
So that popped in.
And it's funny, ours are both about like the present moment, and we are being called. And if you're watching this or tuning in, like, you know, are you getting called? You know, is this like, you know, getting that little fire in your belly, you know, to spark and put some light back in your eyes and, you know, light your path. I think there's so much going on these days in the world that it's just so easy to get overwhelmed and to get, you know, sometimes feel heaviness. And that's why my guides are always reminding me, you know, the lighter you keep it, right? Like the easier it's going to be. So thank you guys for asking that, because now I'm going to go listen to that song.
And then the second question then, Laura, you could be exempt from this if you want. But if not, speak up. And
remember, jewelry is crystals too. So.
Yeah. So
yeah, you have a crystal rose quartz, right?
Yeah, I have that.
There you go.
I know I gave that away to a girl at the shop that was in Lisa's shop. They couldn't find a gift for their daughter that they really wanted, some quartz, and I felt led to give it to her, that rose. But yeah, I do have I've worn that for years from Portugal. And
wow.
It's on some black crystal. So,
let's see it again. Pull it up. Let's see it again.
Yeah.
Oh, is it like hematite? Like
maybe I think it's for energies, like to keep lower energies away or to let those go.
Sure.
It could be shungite.
I love it.
Oh, I love shungite.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a protector.
It's like, I'm really bad. My memory's not great on certain things where it's like, in that sense, where I'm like, yeah, I buy it, I like it. Oh, I love it. And then I'll put it on and yeah. So,
I mean, when the name's like this long, sometimes, yeah, it's easier to just go, you know, the black one.
You know, the black one. So, yeah.
This is the stone I've been playing with while we're talking.
Ooh,
this crinoid, and it's come out of the creek here. So it used to be a living creature, so it's a fossil, and you can see clearly. Then all the way around.
You have such a cool creek behind you. Oh yeah.
Really have a cool creek.
What's the name of it? Crinoids, or what did you call it?
I would call it a crinoid or a crinoid, however you say it. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Somebody can correct us. That'd be great.
Because I got so many of these out there, but this one, I love the way it's all still formed like that.
Oh,
it's very neat.
That's really cool. I love it.
Okay, third question. Have you
we didn't ask Katie. Katie didn't. What was your crystal this
Katie
week?
stone.
Katie,
my favorite crystal right now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's, well, gosh, for a long time, it's probably almost always going to be selenite, because that's my connection with my baby boy on the other side of the veil and all of my angels. And it just, man, I have it. Yep. There you go, Rhonda. I probably have that in almost every
this is like the Paul Hogan's minute. You call that a knife? Look at hers.
Man.
Very
solid. Down.
On the airplane from California to Tennessee in my daughter's backpack because I didn't want to leave it behind.
I'm surprised they didn't, when you went through security, that thing probably lit up like
I had to pull out all my rocks and let them go through the belt and all, the poor things.
Gosh, that's like, I can't tell you how many funny stories I have of like, I didn't even think anything of it. Somebody had given me this black crystal ball. It was for gazing, I guess, if you go, and I'm, just going through security, and all of a sudden I noticed that they had halted the people, and they put distance between me and while they're going through the bags. And then a couple like guards showed up, and I'm like, what is going on? They're like, what is this thing? I'm like, it's a crystal ball.
Oh my gosh.
I ended up getting a good kick out of it. But yeah, I'm sure, when they do their scans, some of that stuff like that would probably be like, what the heck is that?
That's funny. That is funny. That's funny. Okay. Last question.
Oh yeah,
Teresa.
now we're there. Okay, so lately, have you guys had any extra-dimensional experiences of any kind? Have you seen a UFO, or have you seen a Sasquatch, or a Nessie maybe for y'all?
I have noticed more recently in the woods, out of the corner, and it's in my peripheral, where I'll see something and I know it feels like somebody's there, or how you just know when somebody's like watching you, but not necessarily in a creepy way, but you kind of turn and then it'll be like you almost like movement, but then it's like gone. I haven't had like somebody lock in, like full 3D on me, but yeah, I definitely had an uptick in
the side ones.
Mm-hmm. Weren't you saying that at the beginning of the show, Rhonda?
I said that's where we see the fairies.
The fairies, yeah, that's exactly, for you coming in. Maybe that is elemental. That could be.
It probably is. Well, and it's funny because it's always more about them not showing up. They've always been there.
Yep.
It's about us elevating our frequencies, letting go of our stories and our crap that's allowing for us to begin to see what's always been around us.
Yes.
It's like they're probably around waiting for us, like, it's about time. It's like, we were wondering if you'd ever get there. But yeah, I mean, it's all part of the journey back to a world in which all this already exists, and we're just getting to get connected back into it. So
well, Laura and I just went to Catalina Island recently. It's off the coast of California. And who knew? Apparently, that is one of the more active areas, I guess. And just talking to all the locals there, and it's a regular thing, because apparently that channel that separates, LA from the island is one of the deepest channels, I guess. I don't know. There's all this fascinating history, and now they've, got shows that, have done interviews of people that have had, actual sightings, and, but we talked to a couple people that, and they're like, that happened last week, so Laura and I did tonight, and we were like, because they said, you will feel it feels weird, like in this certain area. And it did, it did, like the temperature shifted, and there were these things, I think there was still too much, like, a couple times, like cars were still driving by and stuff, so there was like more activity. So we didn't really see anything, but
we did have that seagull that's just hung out with us for like over an hour, just right next to our table and our chairs. We were sitting on the balcony, and it was just on the railing, like literally maybe 1.5 to 2 feet, and just hung out, just sat there watching us, looking at us, being with us. It didn't matter if we got up and went and did something. It just stayed.
Yeah, it wasn't your typical, animal behavior.
No, not for an hour. There's no bird I know that wants to go hanging out for an hour with somebody that doesn't finally take off. So that was fascinating. It was just like, okay, what we doing here?
Are you watching us, or are we watching you?
And it would stretch one wing out and then pull it in. And then it'd stretch the other one out and then pull it in. And it would just kind of then turn its head and look at us. And be like, I was like, okay. And it just faced us. It didn't have its back to us. It faced us the whole time.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. No, it was fascinating.
It's really cool. So Laura, how about you? You were talking about maybe you had seen some UFOs or
Oh, I've like going to Sedona, just seen them up high in the sky. Yes, I did one of those tours where they showed the zipping around in the lights and the difference between, yes, what would be considered a satellite, what would be Starlink, all those pieces. And so, yeah, it was very fascinating.
Have tours for that?
Oh. I'm sorry?
They have tours about that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Just so you can sit like at these certain parks or whatnot. And depending on how the weather is and the cloud cover and all that, you can sit and just watch, and they'll point out when it's like, no, that's a plane, or no, that's Starlink, because they all behave in certain ways, and satellites and stuff. But you're looking for the ones that would be like just this dot that would turn almost like different colors too. It might go from like a white to an orange to whatnot, but then it would like be moving, and then it would zigzag, and then it would drop down real fast to one part of the horizon and then come back up. And so it behaved in ways that we don't have technology at this point for. And so that was fun to watch. And then I think it's like I told Kid, I had a dream recently that somebody, remember Katie, when I reached out to you, I was like, OMG, oh my God, there are these two things at the foot of my bed. And it's like weird because I knew I was dreaming, but I also was lucid enough that I was awake, that I was aware when they were doing it. It was like in that liminal part of sleep when you're not fully deep in sleep, but you're also not fully awake. And that was interesting because I remember shooting up and just looking at them, sitting up kind of thing. And then, like I told Katie, I said, and I looked at him and I was like, give me your hand. I want to hold your hand. I want to see it. I was like, for whatever reason, that was interesting. And so I just was like, it was just like, that veil is just thinning to such that things can happen, that you can allow life to, you can allow for what is to truly start to show up in your field, not because you're saying it can only look a certain way, because then that's what stops it. You have to really come from a place of allow and release and have no prior agenda, no way in which it must show up, or then you block what truly is. So it's kind of like,
and not only do you block it, but most times we're limited in our imagination, so like when I do get out of my way sometimes and have these transcendental experiences, they are way more than I would have ever in my wildest dreams, conjured up. So that's a really good point.
Which is what manifesting is becoming. See, it's get out of your head, because literally I realize that my imagination is not great. And it almost puts more pressure on me to have to try to think I've got to have an imagination. I'm like, well, crap, I'm screwed. I don't have one really. And yet the realization became like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like, I never asked for you to imagine. I just asked for you to allow for the full imagination of what truly is out there to come through. I mean, that should be like freeing for us to realize, let's get out of our own way and just let go. Because then really that's when the magic, like Katie says, can show up, is because we're not trying to dictate what it needs to look like. We're actually allowing for our higher selves to bring in what it truly is, which is always going to be beyond what we can imagine. Always.
Yeah. It's a change in our frequency that allows us to see into the next frequencies. And that's just a change in our being. So cool. Yeah. Well, ladies, it's been a slice, and I can hardly wait to meet you in person. And please, if you're interested in going here and getting all these wonderful perks and food and sacred sites and quantum healing and biofeedback and just experiencing Scotland, it's not going to be your regular Sandals Resort kind of retreat. This
nor
is
your yoga,
way better.
Yoga retreat.
nor your yoga. Your yoga is just to get you back to your body so you can walk around.
Exactly.
It's not a competition sport, which is my yoga teacher always said. This is not a competition. So yeah, it sounds like a wonderful. I can hardly wait. And thank you for being with us today. And Katie, I don't know if you'll be with us on Sunday, but I'm not sure if you can make it next Sunday. We're doing meditations and messages again for June.
Yeah.
June. So, guys, join us then and get your, whose birthdays will it be featuring? It'll be featuring, is it?
I don't know any.
It's not Taurus, it's the next one.
Gemini, isn't it?
Cancer?
Gemini, yeah, Gemini.
Season now, yes.
Those twins, Gemini. Okay. Or, yeah, the twins. So it'll be great. My mom was a Gemini. Yeah, awesome. So we'll be featuring Gemini. So if you are a Gemini or you know a Gemini, have them tune in. We'll have special birthday cards for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll also have cards for the collective for June as well.
Nice.
Thank you so much again for being with us, and take care, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
And you guys stay on. We'll stay here till when we end the stream. We'll be back on. Okay.